Absolutely crucial decade when you're in your 50s. What should your biggest financial priorities be? Where should your financial focus be? I've got that and more coming up. My name's Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. Why are you here? You're here. You're wanting to make wise financial decisions. Make sure that you're focusing on the right things. You're not missing financial opportunities, or that you're aligning your financial decisions towards financial success. And this little mini series that we're doing right here with these videos is intended to help you with that exact thing, okay? So as a certified financial planner on a team of CFPs and CPAs and insurance advisors, health advisors, all that sort of stuff, we look at all 6 areas of people's financial life and help them make decisions that bring synergy to all 6 of those areas. And through that, serving thousands and thousands of people, you get to see themes within certain decades or within certain time periods. What maybe was once important in your financial life that you needed to be mindful of, but now is taking center stage and is more of a priority. And we've been going by decade, and now we're here to the 50s. In your 50s, this is crunch time. This is, IRS term, not my term, but this is catch-up time period. This is a very important and critical stage in your financial life because you've probably achieved a lot of smaller financial goals by this time. You are in the process of achieving some other big ones, maybe helping with college or house decisions, but you've got the biggie, the big financial decision that most of us have in common coming up on the horizon. That is being in a position to step away from that paycheck and be financially independent, fully walk away from your paycheck and retire. And so you've got to use this time period. It's a challenging time period. This time period, typically in your 50s, is one of life's major financial transitions. And that's when, if you had kids, you become an empty nester. And with my co-host on our weekly talk show, Josh Gregory, he's shared this time period, this stage, as he used to run a few marathons. And this stage, coming to this stage, getting through this stage, is akin to how you could categorize how people respond after running a marathon. And some of us might say, after running a marathon, I'd categorize people on who's smart enough to not do it, because it's awful, right? And so anyway, but he would say, after a marathon, you could group people in sort of 3 categories based on how they react. And one is they just collapse. And we've all seen videos or photos or whatever, or can imagine that's what I would do. You 26.2 and then crash and then absolutely collapse. So when you get past this, all of the other stages in your financial life, and if you've been raising kids, now they're out of the house, you could do that. We see this all the time, guys, where people just stop making financial progress. It's just exhausted, and they lose focus and challenging, so that they collapse. There's another group, and you've seen photos of this too, that after they finish the marathon, they go to the party. There's the party tent, and they just live it up. And I would not be in this camp. I'd probably be in the collapse camp, but live it up. And gosh, you can see the analogy there financially. I was helping kids with sports, and we were traveling every weekend for sports, or I was helping with tuition and all that. Now I don't have that stuff. We're going to go live it up. We're going to go do all these things, and that it can be fun and right, but you want to make sure it's in balance with the other financial goals that are right on the horizon when you're in your 50s. And then finally, there's this third group of marathon runners that they finish the marathon and they, pause for a moment and collect themselves, and then they jog to their car, and they get in their car and they go home and they operate a normal rest of their Saturday. And so financially, is this transition, you get to your 50s, empty nester, and no, I'm laser focused. And that was challenging. And so I take a breath and I keep focusing on the goal. And guys, in our experience, I can see those clusters. And so this is a key time in your 50s. What are the biggest financial priorities that you need to be focused on? Number 1, in your 50s, that's when you've got to build, if you haven't done it yet, build, but then annually update your retirement projection, your retirement plan. I don't mean your 401k. I mean that 5-factor retirement plan that I talk about all the time on this channel, where you're taking a look and saying, well, what are the 5 areas in your financial life that you need to make decisions in, and in doing so, that helps determine whether you're on track to retire with confidence or not. Those 5 factors are: what age are you going to be done? How much are you going to spend? And that includes, healthcare and all those sorts of things, and inflation and debt and those sorts of things. What are your income sources? How are you going to optimize Social Security, that sort of thing? Oh, how much do you have saved up, and how much are you saving for retirement? And then lastly, how much risk are you comfortable taking in your investments? Therefore, that risk, return, reward. So those are the 5 areas. Making a decision, like holding on to one and saying, I must be done at 62. Well, that's going to influence, you're not going to be able to spend as much, or here's how much you can spend. Here's what you'll need to do with Social Security. You've got to save more. You've got to take more risks, something like that. You make a decision in any one of those areas, and it's going to influence what your choices are in the other. That's why it's a 5-factor retirement plan. You've got to see how it all balances, and you should build this when you're in your 40s. But you're still in your 40s, you've got a couple decades left where there's just going to be a lot of change. When you're in your 50s, there's less change. Some of the unknowns have become known, and you can easier describe what your answers, what your decisions are going to be. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I want to be done at 65. I'm pretty sure we're aiming to be done at 62 if possible. What would it take? How much could I save, or how much do I need to save to be able to be done at that point? In your 50s, you've got to build out, but then ongoing update that retirement plan, because inflation's going to surge, and you won't, you've got to update that in your financial plan. The stock market's going to surge, or it's going to drop, or it's going to make changes. You've got to update that in your financial plan. You might have one more big career shift in your 50s, and that's going to change how much you can contribute to retirement plans, whether there's a company match. You've got to figure out how all of those things, maybe you've had a health change, or a family member's had a health change, and you've got to bake that into that retirement plan. So not just building it, but then on an ongoing basis, reviewing it, recalibrating, ensuring that you're on track. Once you've got those 5 factors and you're massaging them and looking at how different levers determine different outcomes, you're then going to want to stress test that to see, is that a confident plan? What's the confidence rate that you have that you're going to be able to make it to your life expectancy without running out of money? So in your 50s, if you don't have that retirement plan built out, you need to build it, and you need to get in the habit of annually or on an ongoing basis updating it to ensure you're on track. The second, and this goes hand in hand with the first one, the second big priority in your 50s is this is about the season, the time period where you start looking at your overall investment risk and looking at how you adapt your investment risk towards retirement, okay? So normally when you get started in your 20s, you're aggressive typically because you've got a long time for those dollars to be invested. Same in your 30s, same in your 40s, even though it's less time, you still got a couple decades, but in your 50s, now you've got a decade left or less, and you've got to start being mindful of, all right, when's the right time and how exactly do I do this, and begin shifting my investment allocation, my investment approach towards taking less risk and being set up to help for a smooth transition into retirement. And then the final big financial priority, again, on top of all the other ones that we've mentioned in each of the other decades, the third big financial priority in your 50s is you've got to build that debt payoff strategy. That's right. Had lots of discussions about, can you retire confidently with debt? Absolutely you can. It's easier if you don't have debt, because your cash flow is able to be more nimble. You're able to adapt more because you don't have as many fixed obligations, fixed expenses in retirement. Whether the market's good, bad, income's up, income's down, whatever, in retirement, if you got a mortgage, you got to pay that mortgage every single month, right? And so in your 50s, calibrating and seeing, well, what would it take to get completely debt-free by the time we retire or early in retirement? Building on what that plan is and seeing if that plan can coexist with that retirement plan and the other goals that you're trying to achieve. In your 50s, guys, it's crunch time. Financially, lots of financial priorities. You've got to be working with a certified financial planner, be doing the tax planning, be doing the cash flow planning, be doing the protection planning, life insurance, all those sorts of things in your 50s. Long-term care insurance, you're making that decision, updating your estate plan. Tons of big financial decisions in your 50s you've got to be working with your CFP on. Those are the 3 big financial priorities that go on top of the previous decades. Work with your certified financial planner on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.